So let's be honest, most of us, we live our lives in the following way. We work hard, we look after our families, we pay our taxes. Every half a decade, we vote in a government and we pray to our deities that they intercede when things go wrong. Yeah? That story sounds pretty familiar. However, if you had a choice about how legislation promulgated by our governments impact on you, if you had a choice on the final way that it is implemented, what do you do? What space is there for ordinary South Africans, for ordinary citizens around the world to actually have an impact? Sitting here with Rob Hutchinson from Dear South Africa. Rob, firstly, where do you fit into that landscape?
Well, Dear South Africa is a platform which allows people to immediately interact with government in co-forming policies. So the public can actually provide their input, which will shape the policy in a direction that they would like to see it go. It's a very simple method to do it. It's an online platform where people can just say what they need to say, provide positive input, and it's governed by laws, which government has to acknowledge and consider every comment. So it's constructive input, not a petition, which goes against or for a particular thing, whatever it might be. It's actually very constructive input, which helps people co-form policy.
So let's start there then. You're sitting there, you're looking at the way that legislation is making its way into life and what sort of need you saw and what the organization has become since then.
It started way back when e-tolls actually came around. Government published that e-tolls was going to be brought about as legislation to toll the urban roads in the Government Gazette, and took an ad out in the business section of about 6 local newspapers. So nobody knew about it, and nobody participated. In total, there were about 25 people who made submissions on e-tolls. Now, had there been proper public consultation, the public participation would have been much, much greater. Public would have been informed, and perhaps e-tolls might not have actually happened in the first place. From that, I decided that there must be an easier way for public to, number one, know about what is happening, and number two, to be able to engage in an easy way. Every decision that government wants to implement on any level has to be put out for public comment under a law called PADJA. What that states is that every comment must be considered by government to co-form policy. So I created that online platform, which is a sort of a middleman between government and the public, and creates an interface where the public can directly communicate and influence the outcome of the policy.
I had the fortune of studying public administration at university, and 2 things about legislation, about public policy that have always been weak is evaluation and public participation. Being that middleman, what impact have you made through the organization that you run?
There's a number of successes that we've had. Number one was we influenced the outcome of the drought charge, which was attempted to be implemented by the City of Cape Town way back in beginning of 2018, I think it was. The administrative law says they have to put it out for public comment. We discovered it, built the platform, informed everyone, told them what it was about, and created that mobile platform where they could provide their input within 2 minutes on their cell phone. And we took the public participation from an average of 200, which the City of Cape Town was used to getting, to 61,000 on that policy alone. And as such, the city dropped the drought charge. One very important one is the amending of Section 25 of the Constitution to cater for expropriation without compensation. When government launched that last year, we ran the only non-biased process. Every other organization ran petitions. Dear South Africa doesn't hold any view. We encourage public participation, and we captured about 230,000 comments from the public, which was sent directly to Parliament, actually printing them out and hand delivering all the comments to Parliament, as well as an electronic summary of what we did. That is now what was used in tabulating the reports that the committee did to Parliament. They used the majority of our input, and they formulated the parliamentary submission based on that. So it has a direct influence in policy formation. Unlike a petition, where a petition if it has 1 million signatures, is still considered as a single submission under the administrative law.
So then let's go back to the process that government is compelled to live up to when legislation makes its way through the machinery. How far does government actually have to go in consulting with the public?
They have to go all the way. The administrative law is pretty clear on that. There has to be public consultation in written format and oral presentation, should the need be. And every comment or submission has to be considered and acknowledged in the decision-making process or in the policy formation process. And proof of that has to be actually shown.
So here we sit now, focusing on the platform DearSA. From this point forward, utilizing a platform like this, what do you aim to do? Where are we going with this?
Currently, government is forming policies that are totally out of touch with society. What I'm hoping with Dear South Africa is to actually shift that power down there again and give the people the power to actually form legislation that works in their favor and improves their lives. See, the problem now, currently, is these policies get formed and society doesn't even know about it. And they find out about it after the fact. Then it goes through lengthy processes to try and undo legislation, costly court cases. So the whole idea of participative democracy and co-shaping policy is prevention is better than cure.
You raised e-tolling. Are there other examples, tacit examples, where you've seen the impact of legislation and the outcry after the fact?
Absolutely. I think there's not just a few examples. I think every single policy formation of the past 20 years has been an example of that. Right from municipal level, from rates increases to electricity increases granted by NERSA to Eskom, everything seems to be a problem after the fact because people, number one, don't understand what the policy is. Number two, aren't informed about this change in policy. And number three, are not offered an opportunity to have their say.
Be active in shaping your country by subscribing to our campaigns on www.dearsouthafrica.co.za and also follow our various conversations and have your say on our social media platforms. The details on your screen right now.